Hello, this is John Feldt, and this is the Weekly Water Outlook National Edition for September 8th. Well, here are the number of days that rain has fallen in the last 7 days. You know, really, drought has been the prevailing weather factor through the summer, and it started out in the west, and it expanded into the central part of the nation, and now it's actually beginning to shift a little bit to the east. And last week was really not much help at all. You can see that the number of rain days are mainly brown, so that's 0 or 1. So pretty quiet over the last week. And if we look at where the rain fell last week, well, first of all, we see a lot of holes here. No rain whatsoever fell over parts of the area. And areas in blue is really inconsequential rain, and even some of the green. So we see it's been a very quiet week, as I sort of expecting it would be across large parts of the nation. Now we look at the percent of normal precipitation over the last 7 days. The areas in red are showing below normal precipitation. And we see that dark red, and that's only 5% or less, and corresponding to the areas of no rain, that's 0. There were a couple pockets of heavier rain over the western U.S. that was very welcome, and the northern tier of the U.S., but definitely for the majority of the nation, it was a quiet week. Now look at the southeast U.S. This is a trend that last week started, and it's really beginning to quiet down over the southeast U.S. after almost the entire summer of above normal precipitation, and I expect that trend to continue as we head into September. Well, here's the very clear and obvious reason for the hot and dry weather. We've had this area of high pressure somewhere over the nation over the last couple months. Sometimes it's further to the west, and sometimes it drifts back into the middle part of the nation. And where it's centered, you really get the hot weather and dry weather. And that ridge's high pressure is very pronounced. Now it is going to break down for a bit towards the middle or latter part of the week, and that'll allow some cool air to come in, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Now tropics have been unusually quiet. You probably remember that many experts were expecting an above normal number of tropical systems, and we were looking at this period of time as really, both from climatological reasons and other reasons, that we thought it'd be more active. And really there's just one system moving off Africa right now that looks like it could develop into a named system. You know, at the end of August there were 0 named systems, which was extremely unusual, so we've had a near record low number of tropical systems so far this season. Many experts have lowered their projections for the rest of the season. Now it could still get active, but if it's going to do so, really I'd want to see some evidence of that over the next week. Now right now we have these 2 areas of high pressure, and that's going to dominate where any tropical system would move. Currently it looks like the most likely outcome would be around this area of high pressure, and then up towards the northeast, curving around this in this pattern, being picked up by this trough. But with this area of high pressure gradually weakening and breaking down, I think as we get into the middle of the month, there'll be a better opportunity for a system to move maybe closer to the U.S. mainland. We'll have to see really how that goes. Now, of course, some areas are vulnerable, the southeast U.S., for example. Other areas could use some manageable precipitation from a tropical system. We certainly don't want that hurricane, but some tropical plumes of moisture could help. So the average temperature anomaly, I mentioned that area of high pressure over the middle part of the U.S., and for August, the latter part of August, you can see we averaged quite warm, well above normal over the upper Midwest, and that's really been the story for the entire summer due to that high pressure. Now if we look at the jet stream, I have 3 different colors here. The jet stream will be changing. Sort of interesting, even though the jet stream will be changing its alignment, the primary impact will be on temperature and not precipitation. So early this week, you can see that the jet stream still sort of ridges or bills up in this area here, and that'll be primarily dominated by this area of high pressure. Towards the middle of the week, it starts to break down, and we get a dip in the eastern U.S., and that's a familiar pattern we've seen this summer. That'll bring some cooler air into the north central U.S. and the northeast U.S., and then next week we have the jet stream lifting north, and that's really going to usher in my opinion, some quiet, typical late summer, early fall weather. Actually, let me take that back. late summer because temperatures are going to be warm. So the rain forecast the next 7 days, very much similar to last week. We have a monsoonal flow over the southwest U.S. We have the chance of some tropical moisture over the southeast parts of Texas, and in the northern tier of the U.S. some enhanced precipitation, but a very large and extensive dry pattern across the nation. It looks like it'll be another pretty quiet week. Now I did take a look at some of the outlooks for the rest of September from NOAA. Just real quickly, if we look at temperature on top, what we see here is, here's that area of high pressure with that above normal temperatures. Latter part of the month, look at this. Once again, as the jet stream pushes to the north, the temperatures are allowed to warm up and we get above normal temperatures over most of the nation. As we go through the middle of September, below normal precipitation. And really, to me, it looks like even the latter part of the month pretty quiet. So it looks like the wild card as far as precipitation is going to be any tropical system that does develop. So the takeaway points from today's briefing: the drought looks like it's going to persist, most likely continue to expand. Hot and dry early this week, then as the ridge breaks down, it looks like maybe cooler temperatures up over the northern and northeast part of the U.S., continued less active pattern over the southeast U.S., and generally from a national perspective, as far as precipitation goes, status quo. Tropics will be something we'll have to watch very closely as we go through the peak of hurricane season. Thanks for listening to this week's briefing, and I will be updating this in about a week.